Black people are finished in Los Angeles, part 2. About 2 years ago, I dropped a video that was going viral until YouTube shadow banned this video. They shadow banned this video because the message was real. I know that they shadow banned my video, and I'll drop a link in the description, because all of a sudden the traction, and I mean it was going. It was going. I dropped that video within a day or two. I was already at 9,000. Now for me, that's viral, you know what I'm saying? But how can a video go from constantly just being hit, constantly getting, me getting messages? I was just getting messages like consistently for 2 or 3 days, and all of a sudden it was dead silence. That don't happen anywhere, right? Even if the traction of that video slows down a little bit, even if that happens, it's not just going to go dead silent. And so this video went dead silent because I was dropping some real facts in that video as to why Black people are done in Los Angeles. And now I'm dropping number 2, the follow-up. Now, if you're not from the LA area, if you're from another state, you even from Northern California, because even at a point I wasn't knowledgeable about this fact. But you have the city of Los Angeles, which is a city, and you have the county of Los Angeles. So Los Angeles City is within Los Angeles County. And within Los Angeles County, it has 88 cities. Los Angeles County has 88 cities alone. Now, since I made that video, and I have some notes here, so I want to be on point. Since I made that video over 2 years ago that went viral, at the time, I wasn't living in Los Angeles, but now I'm living in Los Angeles County, and I've been surviving, not say living, but surviving in Los Angeles County area for about 1.5 years. As of today, the census records, where you can get this sources from the American Census Bureau. This is where I got these numbers from. As of today, Black Americans in the city of LA make up 11.4%. That's approximately 442,172 Black people in the city of Los Angeles itself. In Los Angeles County, Black people make up 8.9%, or 863,389. Now, that's a very small percentage based on the majority. It's over 8 million people, I believe, that live in Los Angeles, and Black people make up a small percentage of that. In Los Angeles City, the city of Los Angeles, they make up 11.4%. And in the county of Los Angeles, which is composed of 88 cities, they make up 8.9% of the population. Now, we're gonna get into some numbers, because people lie, women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. So according to some data that I was able to gather, the 1-year data, 2024 poverty rate of Black Americans now stands at 36.2%. The Census Gov says the median household income of the black family is $65,200. The home ownership rate is 32.4%, and that is one of the lowest rates among major U.S. metros. The poverty crisis for black people in Los Angeles, the poverty rate for black Angelenos is at 36.2%, outpace all other racial groups in 2025. We outpace all other racial groups in 2025. That's not good. Experts attribute this largely to the expiration of pandemic-era relief programs, which reveal the underlying fragility of the economic security in this region for black people. The rent burden for black Americans in the LA area, the percentage of black renters spending the rent burden is at 65%. And as we know, 30% of, they say the numbers are 30%, only 30% of your take-home pay should go to rent. Only 30%. Now, if we're looking at these numbers are telling. You know, when I dropped the first video, I didn't have these numbers included. But in this video, I want to have some numbers, and the sources, I've given them to you. You can go to the census.gov. You can go to the American Community Survey. That's another source. These numbers are telling us that we are not doing good financially in Los Angeles. And looking at the average household income, which stands at $65,000, that is not enough to live in Los Angeles County. It's too low. It's too low. And the government is not helping this as well, because government agencies that are supposed to help our people are tailored towards helping the Hispanic community. That's just a reality. It's a reality because they make up over 60%. Some numbers are gonna say 50, but they make up over 60% of the population. So the government is always going to allocate its resources more towards the majority of the people in that community, in that demographic, where they make up a majority of the population. The government agencies to help our people experiencing economic hardship are not tailored towards helping us. And I'm a first-hand person that has experience with this, because when I fell on hard times, and I'm still not out of the hole because it's just too expensive to live here. But when I fell on hard times, I had to take government assistance. And one of the requirements for being on this government assistance was that I be enrolled in this program, because they'll give it to you for a while, but then after a while, if you're getting it, they're trying, the goal is to try to get you off of the government assistance. That's the goal. So they enrolled me in this work program. And all that I can recall in being in this work program was that all of the services offered were not for us. They were for the Hispanic community, and even for the South Asian community. And I remember, I had, to log into this Zoom meeting every morning at 9 a.m., right? And it's a black American, a black American woman is giving this course. And I'm not sure if she's FBA, but I remember the second or third day, the first day, they had some nonprofit organization that was talking about assistance for the South Asians, right? I said, okay. And I kind of like raised questions. I'm like, hey, how does this apply to us? And, the sister quickly said, hey, this is for, this is a part of the program. I said, okay, whatever. The second day, they had another organization come in, and it was specifically for the Mexican American community. Now, I understand the demographics. I'm the only black person in this group that's showing up on these Zoom meetings, but I have to do it because if I don't do it, they will cut a certain portion of my benefit. So I'm like, hey, the next day when I came in on a Zoom, I asked the sister, I'm like, hey sister, for the past few days, there's been organizations that are targeting other groups. And I understand they make it the majority, but are there any black organizations that will help black people? Because we have unique problems that are unique to us. We have racial discrimination. We have, these other minority groups that are gatekeeping these jobs, making sure only to hire their own. These are real issues. And the sister kind of like seemed like, she didn't understand what I'm saying, and she's a government worker, and it's hard for her to resonate because she's been having this government job, and a lot of these sisters, when they get these government jobs, they forget that they black, whatever. But she seemed confused that I was asking this. She was like, well, this, that, that. I'm like, sister, and maybe you don't know because you've been working for the government for so long, but that there are certain barriers, or you should know, maybe you have family members that are experiencing this, that there are certain barriers that we have that these other groups don't have. And now that these other groups are the majority in these workforces, they are gatekeepers. They are the gatekeepers that are keeping us out. And it's just a reality. We can look, it's a whole bunch of facts to support this. It's a whole bunch of news articles. We all know what happened with the politician, the Hispanic lady that was recorded, talking down on black people. So this is a reality. And I'm trying to ask her, what is there any nonprofit organizations that's for black people and maybe even for black men, because our problem is unique from the black woman. It just is. It's a reality. And she was, she got all clustered. She seemed like she didn't, she didn't have an answer to it. So she was like, how about I'll call you later off of the Zoom meeting. So she called me 2 times. And she was trying to like explain herself. And then she's like, okay, I'm gonna talk to my supervisor. And then on the last thing, she just came out and said it. She was like, well, yeah, they make up the majority, so a lot of the programs are going to be towards them. So what's that telling us? If we can't get any help from the government here, what are we doing? We're finished. I mean, come on. It ain't nothing changed since the last video that I made. It's only gotten worse. The poverty rate has gotten worse. The total of black people that's unhoused is standing at 21,752. That's 4 times representative of the disparity. That's 4 times. You got the unsheltered versus the sheltered black folks. Unsheltered black folks make up 68%. So these things are irreversible, and I just want to, I'm like I said, I'm dropping this video and I'm dropping facts. I'm dropping the numbers because men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. So when I drop these numbers, it can't be disputed no longer. So Black and Native Americans and The native, we already know what happened to them, but let's just focus on the black. Black homelessness at the same rate as other groups, LA's total unhoused population would be lower by approximately 15,000 people. The invisible inflow, even as the city places record numbers of people into permanent housing, black residents are falling into homelessness at a faster rate than than they are being housed. Black people, let me say that again. Black residents are falling into homelessness at a faster rate than they are being housed. For every 10 black people housed, it is estimated that dozens more lose their homes due to rising rents and the end of pandemic era protections. And this is a reality. Those pandemic, during the pandemic, the government was just giving out a lot of money. They were giving out the stimulus package. They were giving out the PPE loans. They were giving out all this money, even on if you was on unemployment. The unemployment was giving out extra money. This money kept black people in their house. But when those benefits end, then the reality hit. A lot of black people couldn't afford to live in these places no more because it was too expensive. Now, the housing fragility. Black Angelenos face the highest eviction rates in the country, 1.6 per 100 households, and the highest rent burden, with 65% of black households on rent. This creates a pipeline that leads directly to the street. Now, housing fragility. Black Angelenos face the highest eviction rates in the country, 1.6 per 100 households, and the highest rent burden, with 65% of black Angelenos, black households, spending more than 30% of their income on rent. What's that mean? They're living check to check. They're gonna be, when you're in that situation, you're always one missed paycheck away from homelessness. And this creates a pipeline that leads directly to the streets. The 2026 numbers, our homeless counts, was completed in January. So we won't have those numbers as of yet, but I can only guess that it's going to be much worse because the cost of living with Trump in office, all this stuff has to be taken into account. We are, for the most part, not openly willing to be the slave class anymore. But many of the immigrants are, and many of the Hispanic immigrants are more than willing and happy to be that. And they folks, white people, brought them here for that reason, to be the nannies, to be the ones that care for their little white babies, to be the cooks, and to be the help. This is a reality. They found a way to solve the problem with their first servant class, which was us, right? They found a way to replace us with this group of people because we were doing those jobs, but after a while, we like, hey, we don't want to, why should, we've been here long enough. We want to start getting our education. We want to start getting into, these white collar jobs. So they said, okay, we're just gonna open up the floodgates, let all them in. And guess what? They come here, they more than happy to do those menial jobs. They don't complain, and the folks know that. They know that. That's why they brought them here. So, like I was saying in the first video, now that I gave you all the numbers, if you disagree with these numbers I gave, you can post whatever you got to say, your opinion in the comment, and I will respond. And I will make another video to respond to what your comment says. But like I said in the last video, we cannot look at these anomalies. And what I mean by anomalies, we can't look at the black entertainers. We can't look at the black sports stars. We can't even look at the black baby boomers. We can't look at this because black entertainers, they only make up a small percentage of the black population in Los Angeles. The black athletes make up both of them make up a very, very small percentage. They don't account for the whole. The black baby boomers, they got the benefit of growing up in a period in time where they didn't have as much issues and problems that we have now, right? They got the benefit from being, at that time, I believe, the #1 minority. They got the benefit from a stronger economy. They got the benefit from housing prices lower. They got the benefit from stronger job markets in which a black man can go to work at a factory or wherever and stay at that job for 30, 40, 50 years, support his family, buy his house, keep his wife at home. They got the benefit from all that. We don't. We don't get the benefit from none of that. We have a hostile environment that we're dealing with, and that's the reality. So we can't use them. They don't account for this. Those groups that I name, they do not have to deal with this problem. And a lot of them, when we're talking about the black celebrities and the black athletes, they don't even live in the city areas. They live often rich enclaves, gated communities. They live off in Beverly Hills, Woodland Hills. What's that? That I don't know. They live off in those areas. They don't have to experience this. So that's a whole different reality. But when I'm talking about the black millennial, the black Gen Z, we are finished. You come here if you want, and the few that was fortunate for their baby boomer parents to pass on a house to them, and I mean fortunate because a lot of the baby boomers was like, oh, I'm gonna sell my house and I'm gonna go and retire and live somewhere else. But the ones that were fortunate to have their parents to pass on that wealth, those are a small percentage. Anywhere where everything is against you, where the odds is against you, it's difficult for you to do anything. And since we have such small numbers, we're not on code. You can check out the video I did on off code behavior, and make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe too as well. But we're not on code. We all divided. You got the gang culture where brothers that are the warrior class are fighting against each other. You see certain brothers trying to come, certain gangs trying to, dead it or it's not as worse, it's not as bad as it was back in the 80s and 90s, but it still is there. So when you got all these factors, and then you got the majority group, the Hispanic group that's against you, and they're the majority. They're keeping all the jobs. They making sure that they only giving jobs out to their folks. They creating all these barriers where they telling you, oh, you got to learn Spanish to work at this job. It's a very hard effort. So my suggestion to cap this off, will some people think in Los Angeles, will some people thrive? Will some people thrive? Yes. Will some black people thrive in Los Angeles? Yes, but they're going to make up such a small percentage that is inconsequential. And when you're talking about black Hollywood and entertainers, they don't even count, right? Majority of black people are not going to thrive. It's too many factors, it's too many hostilities, it's too many things that are against us for us to thrive in Los Angeles. If anything, we're gonna survive and barely do that. Barely do that. With the cost of living going up, it's not getting cheaper. The wages are not going up with the cost of living. It's gonna be very difficult. And then the economy is not good as it is right now. It's gonna be down there impossible. But my solution is we have to go where we're stronger in numbers, and we got to get on code. We got to get on code, and we cannot use these black entertainers, these black influencers, these black celebrities as progress, as we're doing good in LA. They're anomalies. They don't count. They do not count. Do not let them gaslight you. They don't count, right? The odds of you becoming a famous A-list black celebrity are 1 in 10 million, maybe. And an athlete that's hitting being a black superstar athlete like LeBron James, that's hitting the genetic lottery. The chances are very small. The average working class, millennial, Gen Z, black American, foundational black American, it's over for you in LA. You could take that or let it alone. With that being said, like I said, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. And if you disagree, go ahead and comment in the comment section. I'm out.